Perfect. Hi Shane, how are you?
Hey, Gustavo, good man, good. Thank you for talking to me.
Now, thank you for these few minutes for the interview.
No worries.
And I have a few questions for you. Please, first tell me how do you feel about your participating in the We Missed Ourselves Festival in Mexico and other Latin American countries?
Yeah, it's great. Every opportunity we have to come down there is so exciting. We don't get to come down there that often, so when we do, we really try to make the best of it. And I think, this time is going to be probably the most epic, exciting show we've ever played. In Mexico and yes, the rest of Latin America, just because the like lineup is so stacked, it's not just us playing. There's so many other great bands and friends of ours. So yeah, it's going to be a great show, and we're all going to have a really good time. It's going to be an absolute blast, no doubt.
Nice, and you also have a tour in the United States for your 25th anniversary
Yeah.
as a band. So, did you ever think the band could last so long and be so successful?
No, 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 not at all. I mean, with us, starting out so small, just like, kids, you never think anything's going to come of it, I mean, you dream of it, but you don't really actually in your mind think that's going to happen. And yeah, so it's been awesome. 25 years has been amazing, and this year has been all about celebration again. And we've already started the US tour. We've done so many shows already, like two different legs of the tour in Europe and Australia and Latin America, and then another additional US leg with Canada as well. So yeah, it's a bit of busy year.
Nice. Now, let's talk about music because you have your first or second song, Drain the Blood, very interesting song against AA and the process of dehumanizing art. So tell me what it's like for you today dealing with this artificial intelligence uh,
Yeah.
that's already rich music. There are even artificial intelligence bands monetizing
Yeah. Hmm.
Spotify.
Well, I mean, yeah, our song Drain the Blood, which I'll give, I have to give credit to our guitar player Paul Mark for, coming up with the idea and well, really the song. I think, it's just kind of a scary time, not just for people like me who work
Mhm.
in music, but I think for really anybody that like enjoys music and consumes music and wants it to be something real and something from the heart, you know. Um, we're all like nerds, in this genre, and like we all love the bands we love, and we love to talk about the bands, and we love to talk about the different genres and how, this band was influenced by this band. And like the AI models, they don't know that. They don't know the history of it. They don't know the culture of it. And frankly, they don't care. It's just shitting out whatever they can that is just basically a knockoff of whatever it is thinking it should be,
Yeah.
and like it just doesn't work, and I mean, obviously it works because if it didn't work, we wouldn't have this conversation. So there's it's happening, it's going to happen more, but I mean, it's absolutely sucking the life out of the human element of music, which in our genre is so important because what we do and our peers do, this is real music, and real emotion and real feeling, and that's the most important part. I think the chords, and the tempos and the how heavy it is and all that, those textures are not as important as the actual, emotional uh, substance behind it. And when you take that and you put it into a machine that has no um, real, uh, I mean, understanding is a tough word, right? What is understanding? But like it has no experience, I guess, in the real world with this stuff, then, it's kind of, it just sucks. And yeah, I think that there's been a lot of like experimenting with things, and nine times out of ten, it's just something that you're better off just doing yourself. And I don't think musicians should even fuck with it at all.
Nice. And I think it's to a bit of a protest song. So, do you think music can be an important factor in issues like artificial intelligence or social or political issues?
Can you repeat that question? I'm sorry, I missed a bit of the beginning of it.
Do you think music can be an important factor in issues like artificial intelligence or social or political issues?
Yeah, I mean, I think music can be that, and music can also be an escape from that too.
Mhm.
That's another thing that maybe isn't getting talked about as much. I mean, sure, like you think of freedom songs and some of the super important artists that have been, behind the resistance, throughout history, and how music has been, not just in the background but also in the foreground. But I also do think that, you look back to the hard times, in history. And a lot of times, histories repeat itself to where there is a tough time, there's a recession, there's war, um, all of which seem to be kind of happening now or on the verge of happening. Then that is a time when people seek out darker music, like when Nirvana was popular in the early 90s. That was a big height of a recession at that moment in the United States, at least. So that tends to be part of it, because the reality is that when people are going through these very stressful times, they need music. They need to have that emotional support from it. They need to feel like someone else is relating to them on a human level. And you can put aside all the specific politics or whatever. It comes down to human beings going through things and going through hard times and trauma, and using music as an escape. And I think that that is an understated uh, part of it.
Yeah, excellent. And about the music of Drain the Blood, how would you describe it? It's really powerful and very hard. Uh, how do how would you describe the music?
Yeah, well, Drain the Blood's kind of a crazy song. I think part of what uh Paul Mark set out to do, and the vision that he had that we ran with, was like a lot of it is like something that an AI model would never do.
Okay.
Like we kind of almost did things that were like so weird that they had to be human. Everything from that like piano intro to that like the chorus that's basically just screamed, with that kind of like clanking in the background, into a big time shift, with Roy Rodriguez coming in and singing. And I think that the song just kind of takes a lot of turns in a short time, and does a lot of things that are a bit unexpected. And I think that that was part of the point, because I'll tell you right now, I know what an AI song would probably try to do, and it would be, the standard four chords that everybody knows, and it would try to have this big soaring chorus of vocal and everything, and we kind of did the opposite of that, um, for sure.
Excellent. Now, about the upcoming album, Pink Moon, is part of a double album of which we already have the first part. So, first of all, why release a double album, don't you think people don't listen to full albums these days?
No, I do think people still listen to full albums. Absolutely. I think though, in my experience as a music fan, and I've been a music fan for a long time, even long before there was, digital music and singles released on the internet and all that, you'd get the CD, right? And even back then, there are still albums that I like that I never really listened to the like end of them that much. I mean, that's just I think humans can have a short attention span for that. And sure, there's records that I listen to all the way through and I could tell you sing every word of the song, but there's a few that like, oh, I know track 1 to 5, 6, 7, then like 9, 10, 11, it gets a little bit foggy. I'm like, what are those songs again? So with this project, we had a lot of songs and we didn't want them to get lost in that way. We didn't want to have like a big long album of, like 16, 17, 18 songs. So we decided to do two and put them out, one early in the year, one later in the year. And that way we can kind of like roll it out all year long. Um, have a bunch of singles coming out throughout the year as well, and just really have everybody excited about what we're doing without just like laying it all on everybody all at once, being like, here it is, and then having a lot of it get lost in the shuffle. So I think it seems to be working really well, and I think a lot of nowadays with so many people's attention tied up in so many different media, way more than ever. I think we did a great job doing that and just being like, all right, here's a more digestible amount of music at one time.
Yeah. And about the musical difference we'll find between Anti-Bloom and Pink Moon, what can Silverstein fans expect from this album?
Well, I think Pink Moon has a little bit more in the way of depth and range.
Yeah.
It's a little more like slightly more experimental. We do some kind of interesting things. I think um, people heard that already with Drain the Blood, with Rory, coming in and singing, and that song being a little bit different. But we also have a song coming out. It's coming out really soon, actually. It's coming out. It's our next single, and it's called Autopilot. It's um, it's with featuring Cassidy Pope, who was from Hey Monday, and then had a great solo career as well. So we have another male female duet, which obviously we didn't have on the first album, and yeah, and just a bunch of other really cool sonic landscapes. I think the way that a record starts is a lot different from how Anti Bloom does. And there's like a awesome closing track that's a little bit different as well. So yeah, I feel really great about this album, and I know our fans are too. And I think it might be better than Anti Bloom, to be honest. So we left a lot of the songs for this one.
Nice. Now, Silverstein is turning 25, but it's also the 20th anniversary of your second album, Discovering the Waterfront.
Yeah,
So, how do you feel about your music today after so many years? Do you still like that album?
yeah,
And
man.
how do you think the band sounds has evolved?
Wouldn't change a note. That album happened at a time when kind of everything just was clicking. I mean, our band was right in a position, having it be our second album, um, just right, like right time, right music, right sound, right songs, right label. All these things just kind of worked out and were perfect. And I wouldn't change a thing. I mean, I think it's shown to be a classic album now that's brought up a lot. People always talk about, how important this album has been to them. And it's important to me because it was the album that really put us on the map as well. And I remember that album coming out and it being all in all the stores, and then the record company saying, "Oh yeah, we might be like the top, you know, top 30." I'm like, in the top 30 in the Billboard. What at that time, like bands like us weren't even in the top 200. So and then I think it was like number 27 on the Billboard or something, and we were like, "What the hell? Like, we're not a like we scream in our music. This isn't supposed to be, on the Billboard charts." And that was the shift we saw, and right at that moment, it was like you kind of knew, oh, I'm going to be doing this for a long time, I think. And here we are, 20 years later. I was right, and it's still great to play those songs and see people get excited about it. And yeah, man, 20 years, it's crazy. 20 years almost. We're like almost the week of when did the record come out? August
20,
21st, is it? 21st, 2005?
yeah,
So yeah, we're like 9 days away from the 20-year anniversary of that album, which is pretty crazy.
excellent. Finally, I don't know if you knew, but in Mexico, having festivals like We Missed Ourselves is unique because for a long time, emo fans experienced terrible violence, especially during the early 2000s,
Yeah.
due to intolerance and misinformation. So, what would you say to all those people who were waiting in the shadows for this moment?
Yeah, it's something that I heard a little bit about, but I don't know everything about, the violence and all that stuff. It was kind of like there was a disconnect between the media the news media and stuff that we got versus, you guys, and obviously there's a language barrier there. And also, just the way that how do you know like what news is real news or how big a deal things are? It's tough with, between different countries. But I will say though, and I've said this before, is this music is forever. This music is not a trend. Yes, there was some questionable fashion and some fashion that was over the top that drew a lot of attention to a part of the music and stuff that really wasn't important and still really isn't important, because that fashion and everything had nothing to do with the real emotions of the songs, the real meanings of the songs, how people heard these songs and how, you know, attached to them they felt, connected to them they were and still are. Because, you know, our genre is meaningful and our music is meaningful. It's not just like, you look back at the 80s stuff with the, hair metal, and a lot of people just saw the hair, right? They saw 80s hair metal and clothes and studs and whatever, right? They saw that, and then they said, "Oh, we're just repeating that," in 2004. It's just the same thing again, right? It's everything's cyclical. But the biggest difference was the songs weren't about like fucking chicks and fast cars, and getting fucking drunk and partying. We never wrote songs like that, right? We wrote real songs about real emotional things that have happened to us, and timeless things that, people coming of age experienced back in the 80s and in the 2000s and all the way till today and all the way until 2100 and beyond, because this is timeless music. And that is why our music has still here, why We Missed Ourselves Fest is going to be awesome, is so important, and why so many people are still excited about this music all these years later.
Excellent. And finally, did you ever see it as a responsibility to talking about the topics you're talking about?
Do I feel a responsibility to talk about them?
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I think as I gotten older, I think that you start to feel a little bit more like a dad to like people a little bit, and like you see kids coming to the shows and I guess like yeah, you want to set a good example. You want to be a good kind of like steward of the scene and of independent music at least. And with me too, like I do a podcast that I interview other artists and I promote music in that way. Like I'm a part of the media in that way too, and I'm a part of kind of keeping the wheels turning for my peers too. So like, in that way, I guess I do feel a bit of a responsibility to kind of continue to promote this, and I want everyone to see everyone do well, and I want to see the genre continue to grow. I believe in the music that people make, and I think that so it's honest, it's real music. It's not radio crap. It's not like you said AI, generated music. And yeah, and I think that I do feel a bit of a not maybe not an obligation, but I do feel like it's important for me uh to continue to, yeah, be a good part of this genre and be uh one of the faces, maybe not the biggest face, but a face of the genre. No, I just want everybody to come to the show. Mexico, it's going to be off the hook. If people are listening from other countries in Latin America, definitely look out for it. Come hang. We're excited, and I know the other bands are too. This is something that it's been very difficult to put this together when you've got so many different people and moving parts to make sure everybody can like get on a plane and get down there and do it. It's not easy, but we made it happen. So I really hope people can come celebrate with us.